Today, we take a look at Mortal Kombat 2. But first, let me take you back to the 90s for a moment when fighting games ruled the arcades. Many of these have become legendary classics among gamers, while others, not so much. One fighting game that got our attention was the original Mortal Kombat, with its digitized graphics and of course, its gruesome fatalities. Unfortunately, this created a media stir, resulting in some of the home versions of Mortal Kombat to become censored. Kinda like Diet Combat? This left gamers asking if Mortal Kombat 2 on the home consoles would get the same censorship treatment. Thankfully, they slapped a rating on it and Mortal Kombat 2 was released to the homes in all its bloody glory. So now, let's take a look at some of the home console releases and see how they compare to the arcade. Okay, so here we are looking at Mortal Kombat 2 on the Game Boy. Not really expecting a hell of a lot from this one. I mean, it's a Game Boy version of Mortal Kombat 2. I think that's all that needs to be said. Let's have a look. Now, at the moment we're using the Super Game Boy just so we can record the footage, but we do have two versions and two Game Boys and link cables, so we're going to have a bit of a look at that later on as well. So, in case you don't know what a link cable looks like and a Game Boy looks like, there we go. So we'll go into this. Yeah, that's okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so first thing you notice is instead of 12 characters, you've got 8.
And probably 6 shades of grey to represent them.
Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't played it before, you might struggle, to know which ninja's which. I know I've chosen Reptile, but it'd be a bit of a nasty surprise if you chose someone by accident here. So trying to do the moves, obviously you've only got the 3 buttons. If you hold down start, that actually blocks. So they kind of make good use of the buttons in that respect. But obviously you've only got the 2 there, so... Okay, I won. Great.
Well, you have to win again now, so I can see if the fatalities work.
Yeah. So the moves are a little bit different, but it's not too bad. So you hold forward and kick to do the roundhouse. Back and kick does the sweep. This actually isn't too bad. You know, the gameplay's semi-smooth. Okay, so finish her. There you go.
That worked.
That, okay, that actually wasn't too bad, I have to admit. Yeah. Do you want to,
There you go. Alright. What are the buttons? That's
it's B and A. B, A and start. The start button's a bit dicky on that one.
Alright.
So hold down really hard.
I blame the controller. Oh, forward, Brent.
Yeah, so forward and kick's the roundhouse, which I kind of got used to that. I have to admit, I have actually been playing this on the Game Boy for a few weeks now, and I actually quite enjoyed it, surprisingly. Again, when I first loaded it up, it was, I was expecting it to be really jerky, which it is a little bit, but, you kind of take that with the console, I think.
Wow. Oh, look at those spikes. That's awesome.
Oh, crap, I'm the wrong one. Okay, there we go.
Oh, when you can only generate one shade of blue, it's kind of hard to
differentiate. Okay, well that works.
I don't understand any of what's going on.
Yeah, it's like there's lag.
Where's the block? What's block?
Block is actually both buttons together.
Oh,
Remember, you've
what?
only got 2 buttons on a Master System, so...
This is horrid.
It's not the best.
I
I had played this prior to this video, and I was like, wow, it's really bad. It's like playing Mortal Lag.
The Game Boy version's better than this. This is shocking.
I'm really glad you said that, because that was my feeling too. I felt like the Game Boy version was smoother.
This is horrible. This is just you press buttons and stuff happens, and they don't seem to be connected.
There's just this like lag to it. I can't get over that. The delay.
Yeah, I'm expecting this one to be pretty good, actually. So,
Get a bit of volume.
all right.
The audio's clearly not at the level I was expecting.
Yeah, it's if you played a few Mega Drive games, it's got that Mega Drive sound to it. All right, well, let's get into it.
All right, so that's a pretty sparse sort of menu setup as well. Not a lot going on.
Well, it's the same as Super Nintendo. You know, you only had start options there, really.
Yeah, but that has
Just look better.
a
Yeah.
graphical setup rather than just
That's
2 bits
true.
of text. Yeah, the sounds are pretty massive.
Yeah. It has. If you notice too, it hasn't actually like said the names.
Looks incredibly green this level.
Yeah, it does a bit. Like it's sort of washed out. You know what we forgot to do? So this is a huge difference between the games. You actually have to reset it. There is something that we forgot to do, and we actually have to go into the options and tell it that we're using 6-button controllers.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, because you didn't necessarily have a 6-button controller.
Yeah, so we were both sitting here figuring out why we couldn't uppercut. I'm guessing I was like, hang on, why aren't the moves working? I had played this version before, but that's a really big surprise there. So we actually have to go to extra controls and 6-button for each one, which is a real pain in the ass. I think that should be a default option. I'm assuming that most people would have had the 6-button control if you're going to play Mortal Kombat. But yeah, definitely a little bit of a pain in the ass. So here we go again.
I'm surprised the console had no way of detecting which controller you're
Yeah, you would think. Although I thought it did have, because I think some games... I might be wrong on that. Oops. There we go. Now we're sort of... There we go.
There's a block. I went for the shoulder button to block.
Yes.
This controller is interesting.
Yeah, it is weird playing with a Genesis controller after you've played with a SNES one. But I don't mind it too much. I've sort of got used to it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really missing a lot of the speech in this, which I'm surprised at. Because some games on the Mega Drive that I found out, like Super Street Fighter 2, actually has more speech than the Super Nintendo one.
Might have had something to do with the cost of storage on the cartridges at the time the games came out.
Could be. But I mean, to me, it almost looks more 8-bit than 16-bit.
I cannot do a quarter circle back to save my life.
Another little thing too, graphically, if you notice, the shadows are round circles instead of actual shadows.
Come here!
let's do this. So now we're looking at Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo. Probably the version that we've probably played the most, I think.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So yeah. And I mean, straight away, you know, I have to say I do prefer the SNES controller over the Mega Drive version. Not that we're trying to compare them too much to each other. Yeah, but I mean, just like, we're trying to play the game and I'm trying to review it as well. But I mean, just looking at things like the background and the graphics, and the sound on this one is particularly good. All the speech is there. Whereas some of the other versions seem to be missing a bit of that.
This was incredibly close to arcade quality.
It was, yeah. I mean, especially for a 16-bit console at the time. I don't even think I got any.
I don't remember this fatality either. I remember you get a whole block.
High
High punch.
That's it.
Hi, I was hitting low punch.
It's alright, we'll have another crack. I clearly need to go someone else. See, I go Reptile against a computer and I kick ass without even thinking about it, but it's you obviously got to play a bit different when you're playing against a real person.
I'll go Scorpion again because I won. The computer definitely has some patterns that it goes through, so once you learn what the AI does, it's,
yeah, it is. It's very easy. I can usually get up to Kintaro with Reptile quite easy. Okay.
No, Brad. When it comes time to edit this, you can just pretend that you're Scorpion.
Good. So here I am playing a Scorpion. Well, unless I win, then See, again, something like I noticed on this one here, there is actually animation on the background. In some of the other versions, I've noticed that's absent. So they did a really good job of this, I think. Considering it's not perfect, you know, the graphics aren't quite as clear, but again, you know, you are talking about a 16-bit console versus an arcade version of the game.
I remember some of the character animations being a bit clunkier in this than arcade. Not something you'd really notice until you went and played the arcade one straight after, or vice versa, but I know when you're jumping, like for example what I'm doing now, rolling around the air, things like that are a little bit smoother on arcade.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of extra sound effects when you're doing the jumps and things like that. For me, the biggest like graphical detail is like the actual people themselves. Like you can sort of make out a bit of a pattern, almost like a type pattern or something on the characters themselves, especially the ninjas. But here it's not quite as prominent, but it's still, you know, they still look great.
Well, yeah, gradient limitations.
Yeah, well that's it, you know, it's just the limitation of the resolution of the SNES and blah blah blah. Which I guess is what this video is all about, you know, we're just looking at each one, how it compares. But I mean, this one, you know, was fantastic. You know, definitely, you know, you had that arcade feeling.
I remember this and Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES being two fighting games that were close enough to arcade quality for you to not really notice or care about the difference.